Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Life Conversations with a Twist. Guess what? We're at the end of the year. It is finally the end of 2024. And I don't know about you, but I think at the end of the year, I always just get really excited for a new year because it's always a fresh start, fresh goals, fresh perspective. So I want to talk a little bit about like the theme for this podcast episode is how I get excited for the new year. I get asked all the time how I do everything, how I'm so goal oriented, how I just like live this life of constantly, growing and striving for the next thing, and how I'm able to manage so much stuff. And you can listen back to all my podcast episodes, and I talk about it all the time. But this episode, I really wanted to lean into more of what I do to get excited for the new year. It's a process. It doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't just say, "Hey, Happy New Year, we're here and it's a new year and let's like get it done." There's a lot of mental preparation and some strategy that kind of goes behind it. Again, I'm a strategist and I'm all about making a plan and setting some goals and doing the things. So there's kind of three things that I really want to hit on this episode, and kind of what to simplify it. I have so many ideas in my head, but this is a great way to like simplify it for somebody who is wanting to get excited for the next year and kind of like figure out the steps to really lean into a new year and make it the best that you can. So there's kind of three things I want to talk about. One is reflection, and we'll dive in a little bit around what that is. Decluttering and goal setting. Those are like my three things that I wanted to just dive in a little bit on each topic today, and kind of where the mindset comes from each one of those. And I hope this is as inspiring and gives you a little bit of homework, some things to think about, and some easy takeaways to apply this to like your life as well. So, this year was a good year. I have to say it was a good year, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, my first thing that I want to talk about is reflection. I think that at the end of the year, it's always good to just sit down and reflect on all of the things that happened this year, good, bad, ugly, but really leaning into the positive things that happen. I think a lot of times we get in our head about all the things that are negative, and some negative things or some, hard things definitely will overpower the good. And some people are really going through some hard things. I watch some people in my network struggling with health, or struggling with fertility, or struggling with cancer. And there's, not to say that none of these things can really cause a damper, but they could really like kind of blindside you to the good things. And I just talked to someone yesterday, and they were saying how, they got in an accident, and it was like, then something else happened, some like a dishwasher broke, or, like things come up in your life, and it always feels overwhelming when they all happen at once. And we get so caught up in the mindset of like, oh, this happened to me. Oh, this sucks. That kind of, talk in your head. So I really am encouraging you to just sit down, take out a notebook, take out a notepad on your phone, however way you best can reflect on this, but really sit down and think about all the good things that happened in 2024. Again, I had to like go back to like January, because like sometimes, good things happen, but you kind of forget about them because, new things come up, or, they were so inspirational at that time, but then again, like something else comes up, or you kind of forget about it. And so it is a good way to just kind of like sit in your life and just really reflect on 2024 and the good moments and the good things that have happened, or goals that were achieved, or some pivots that were made. Whatever it is, it's a really good time to reflect. And so I'm not a huge journal person. However, I do like journal once a day, where I'd, go through and write down 5 things I'm grateful for, and then, my goals for the year too. Writing them down each day really reminds you of your goals, and to really make sure that you live each day, it's trying to achieve those goals. So I actually had to sit down, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had I guess I did accomplish a lot. And so I just wanted to, I think my last year's episode around this time was a reflection of my year and like really talking about all the great things that have happened. And I do want to reflect on that because if I ever listen back to my podcast someday, I want to remind myself of where I came. But I also want to just show this exercise to you guys of kind of like the things that you can think of. And I won't spend a ton of time on it because I really want to focus on getting you ready for the next year. So, some of my big accomplishments this year, which um, are things that were on my vision board from last year. So every year I do a vision board. If you're interested, I'm having one on January 9th. You can just email me or DM me on Instagram and I will send you the link. It's free. It's here locally in Windsor, California. And it is a really great way to kind of get your mind set and excited for the new year. But as I reflect, and I'm look over here because this is where my vision board is, of some of the goals that I had set for myself and some of the things that I achieved. And of course, there's things that, you don't achieve. And so they either stay on your board for next year or they get ripped down because you have new goals. So some of my bigger accomplishments this year, I mean, my number one was moving to Windsor. That was something that has always been on my heart. I needed to do it for getting some time back, making it easy for my children, and that has really truly changed my life. I didn't realize moving 20 minutes north would save me so much time, and then also living in a space that is clutter free and doesn't have a lot of projects, how much time it's freed up for me. So that I think is probably like one of my number one favorites for this year. I also got a new office, which is what I'm sitting in right now. This is my space to dream big, to meet people, to collaborate, to strategize, to just record podcasts. So much magic has happened in this office, and I cannot wait to see what happens moving forward as well. It feels like home for me. Um, I did two women's retreats. We did an overnight retreat back in April, and then we just did one in October. And that was a huge accomplishment. It's something that's been on my heart with my friend Alicia, and we finally made it happen. And they are not profitable at this time, but the impact that it has made on others' lives is truly so rewarding. And so there's more to come. If you didn't know, we do have slots for our next January retreat, which is on January 2nd. And so again, DM me or go to you can email me, whatever. There's lots of ways to get a hold of me and get the link to sign up. What other things did I do? As most of you guys know, I have two businesses, and our labor company doubled in revenue this year. So that was very exciting, a goal that we had set for ourselves. And so it's been really cool to see that little business grow and continuing to grow for next year. We have some really great things in the pipelines, and I'm really excited to see the growth in that. And this has allowed, again, financially, so a little bit more financial freedom and giving us a little bit of money to go do vacations, which I'll get to in a second. The other thing was with the Connection Hive, ending the year in a very good revenue space. I made the more money than I did working as an employee. So that was a huge accomplishment for myself. Starting your own business, you have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea financially if it makes sense, and you don't know what the market's going to take. But I'm very proud to say that I hit my revenue sales. This definitely was a year of reflection for me of what I want to do, and we'll get to what that looks like for next year. But also with the business, I was able to hire more support in my business. And I think as business owners, we think that we have to do everything. And when you first start out, you kind of do because you're not making any money. But I was able to make the leap to hire a bookkeeper who is supporting me and all the financial stuff and payroll and all that stuff. But then also I was able to bring on a team to help with my podcast. And growing my podcast is definitely a huge accomplishment where it's definitely growing. I hit a lot of milestones this year. I've had a lot of amazing guests on, but definitely we'll talk about goals in a minute, and that is definitely one of them that will continue to move forward. We took 3 vacations this year. We took one earlier in the year with my family to go see my dad. We also went to Arizona to visit my stepdaughter. And then my husband and I just took a solo trip to Vegas. And so travel was definitely, I mean, we didn't go anywhere spectacular or, we didn't go to some tropical island or get away for a couple weeks, but we were able to take the time to get away and spend time with each other and our family. And so that's something that's been very important to me and will continue. We have lots of great trips on the books for next year. So very excited about that. And let's see. The other thing is sometimes when you are going through life, you find some bumps along the road, or you find things that you want to improve on, whether that's your health or your relationships or your career or whatever that is. And one of the things that has always that's been hard is my relationship with my husband. We've gone through a lot. He had back surgery last year, so we've had a lot of personal things kind of come up. And so we've been very blessed to be able to find a counselor to help us through the process and being able to communicate better and be happier and really kind of, it's almost a little bit of self exploration of yourself and how you show up. So we're very thankful to have that. And I think that's something that has been important to me, is making sure my relationship with my husband is strong. Also, just being able to spend more time with the kids now that I'm not traveling all the time. I have flexible hours with my work, and being able to spend more time with my kids has been very important to me and will continue to do that as well. And the last thing was getting on a healthy workout routine. I have to say I've been very consistent about working out. My eating habits suck, and I do drink a lot of wine, but that will be something I'm working on for next year. But I am proud of the commitment I made to showing up and working out, 3 to 4 times a week. It has helped me obviously physically, but also mentally. So as I sit and reflect, those are some of the key points that I'm very proud of this year. And again, it just makes you realize all your hard work, it pays off. So that is kind of step one of getting ready for the next year, is sitting down and reflecting on the good things in life. The next one I want to talk about is decluttering. This is a very broad topic, but I definitely think that it's something that, as I was putting these notes together, I'm like, okay, this is something we need to talk about. And there's so many little buckets. Um, but excuse me, but really getting ready for the next year in a clutter-free space that is not stressful, that's not on your mind, that doesn't bring anxiety to your life. So there's a couple little buckets that I encourage you to take the time. I know a lot of us are taking a couple weeks off between Christmas and New Year's. You can even take January, or a week in January, or a weekend in January to do these things. A lot of these things are really not time consuming. Again, you can make like a clutter day and just get through all of these. But I promise you, if you actually just take the time to kind of organize these things or declutter them, it will definitely change how you move about your life and also in your mind. So a lot of these things I do on the monthly. I actually like schedule them to do. But and one of them is something that I just listened to a podcast, and I think that it's a great reminder. So cleaning out your emails. I manage like 8 emails. That's not, it's not a lot. But even if you manage one, a personal one that you get a lot of junk mail, go through and delete things. Make little folders, things that are important, move them over to a folder, delete the things you don't need, and then start unsubscribing. I mean, can we all talk about how much junk mail we get? This is probably why I have so many, because I get to a point where I'm like, I just have so many, and I just open a new email address. And then when I go to sign up for one, like, once they ask for your email, I give them like one that I never check anymore because I don't want to be spammed. So there's two things you could do. You could do that. You could just start over a new email, and start fresh, or you can just go through what you already have, just literally just hit like select all, delete. And then as like in the mornings, as they start popping up, just go to unsubscribe. It's super easy to unsubscribe. And I honestly has changed how much emails I get because there's just been so many, especially on the personal level. And then I also went through and just like cleaned out all of my work emails, all my client emails, put them in buckets, tasked if I need to do something for next year, I tasked it for next year. So really going into the new year with a new inbox is very important. This also goes for text messages. I don't know about you, and I also don't love the red dots on the phone. Like if you have an Apple phone, you know what I'm talking about. I do not like red notifications on my phone, so I go through and clear all of them out. But once a month, I go through and clean out text messages. If it's you get a lot of junk message text messages. I just clear those out. I clear out any group text messages that I'm not a part of, or say you're going to an event and someone puts you on a group text and like they like blow you up. I just like to get rid of them. And if you have an iPhone, you can actually go through and delete all of your large attachments because that does download, that does take up a lot of memory in your phone. And going through and deleting all those emojis or all those photos that people send you. For me, I love to look at my phone and it's like clean and there's not very many text messages and there's not a lot of emails because then I feel like that is very overwhelming to me. Um, Taking the time to clean out your bills, like if you have a lot of paperwork, like, take a couple hours and just go through and reorganize it. If you're really interested in doing like a huge like organization purge, message me and I'll send you a book that I just read. It was very, very helpful. A lot of the things I already did, but there were some great takeaways for like going through your bills and reorganizing that to like just kind of like clean that up. And then I also wrote down like cabinets. I think like if there's like a space in your house that brings you anxiety, like a Tupperware container cabinet or a water bottle cabinet, just go through and just clean it out. Throw away things that you don't need, purge what you need to purge, reorganize it. If you can like start the year fresh with like spaces that are clean and organized, like it's crazy to me how less stressed you will be. So I think that is like maybe it's a closet or a shoe closet. Like this is a great time of year. If there's clothes that you don't wear, take them out, bring them, donate them to Goodwill. Get rid of the things that really truly bring you stress. Maybe it's a garage or it's a bedroom or it's your office or whatever it is. Being able to clean out a space and starting the year off decluttered is amazing. I mean, this is what I do on the daily. So I'm just trying to remind you guys this is how in my brain makes me feel better. And the last one, which is something that I think is super important. I just listened to a podcast about this, is cleaning up your social media. We spend a lot of time following people who make us feel like shit. I mean, let's be honest. How many of us scroll and we're looking at people that have maybe a life that you want or make you jealous or make you feel a certain way or make you feel uncomfortable or make you feel crappy about your own life? Unfollow them. Nobody tells you you have to follow these people. Go in. No one will even notice. Just go in and unfollow them. Go to your followers list and just unfollow the people that literally make you feel like crap. And stop following the things on social media that make you feel like crap, like the reels that you follow. There's so many different ways to get rid of those types of things in your life that will make you feel better. And maybe it's a friend, or maybe it's a group, or maybe it's someone in your life that doesn't bring you joy or that makes you feel like crap. Declutter them. Let them go. So that's just a reminder. I think that going into next year is just a great way to kind of let it all go, right? Bless and release. It was a great year. It was great to have them in your life, but it's time to let them go. Let them free. And if it's meant to be, they'll come back. So that was like my second thing I want to talk about is just decluttering. Decluttering all the things. I'm sure you can think of more, but these are the ones that I find a lot of stress and angst around. So doing that. And my last topic, which I talk about all the time, and this is a huge part of how I'm able to do the things that I do and to consistently move my life forward, is setting goals. I know everyone loves talking about it, but here we are. I mentioned earlier that I had to do a vision board every year, so I'll be doing that in early January. And again, this is going live January 2nd. So some of you will have already done this. And if you haven't done it, it's not too late. It's never too late to start. So this is something that you can do in January, and then maybe you start fresh in February. Whatever it takes, just get it done. But I am going to challenge you to set 3 goals. 3. I have more than that, but let's start with 3. Vision boards, you have a lot more, which is fine. But I want you to sit down and think of 3 goals that you're going to focus on for next year. And we're going to do a little exercise around them. But they can be anywhere from career, health, family, relationships, hobby. You want to do more work in nonprofit sector. You want to start a business. You want to start a side hustle. You want to leave that job that you hate. You want to start taking up yoga. You want to take more vacations. You want to spend more time with your family. Whatever it is, those 3 things that will, if you can write them down, you get excited about, and you know that if these were accomplished, like your life would be different. Those are the 3 goals that you should be writing down. So the 3 goals that I have, let's see if I remember them. No. One is to continue my health journey, but also more on the eating side and less drinking. I've been very good about showing up, working out, but my eating habits are not the greatest and not consistent, and drinking has really been a downer for me as far as how I react to things, how I show up, how if I drink some wine the night before, I don't want to work out. So just getting that more buttoned up is definitely a big goal of mine. Number 2 is growing my podcast. Honestly, like I'm ready to take my podcast to the next level, and I'm have lots of things in the pipeline to get there. I'm going to set personal goals to be on 24 different podcasts in 2025 as a guest. I just need to get in a room with people that are going to help move that forward. I have lots of things around that. I would love to make money on doing a podcast. Shoot, at some point, I would love this to be my full-time job, but here we are. So just putting a lot more effort and time around my podcast. And my third one is really figuring out where I want to take my career. I'm definitely in a space where I get very lost and confused about what direction I want to go, whether that's leaning into my career that I've had for 20 years, or it's leaning more into my podcast, or it's leaning in more to the retreat world. I'm still not very clear on it, and I would love to take the time this year to figure out what that is and to get more clarity around it. So I'm putting my goals out there because I believe in manifesting, and I believe in talking about them, and I believe if you tell people about them and talk about them and you write them down, you're definitely going to be more focused. So once you have set those goals, one, I want you to write them down. Maybe put them on a sticky, maybe put them on a vision board. I want you to put them somewhere where you're going to look at them daily. Again, every time you look at your goals or write them down, it reminds you that each day you need to do something to work toward that. So that is like exercise 1. Exercise 2 is I want you to take each goal separately and like dissect it. So if one of your goals is changing your career, I want you to figure out and write maybe a couple action items. Maybe it's like 3 action items of what you can do to make that goal happen. And if you get stuck in this process, please reach out to me. I'm happy to do a little session with you and we can figure it out together. You got to get creative. So if it's changing your career, is your resume updated? Is your LinkedIn updated? Do you know what career you want to get into? So, spending time researching it, listening to podcasts. If it's a career that you know you want to get into, find a podcast or books that will educate you on that. There's so many things you can do to move your goal forward, but you need to sit down and figure out what those action steps are, and then finding out the time you're going to do it, whether that's a weekly thing that you're going to work on, if it's a 1 day thing you're going to work on, if it's a continuous daily thing you're going to work on. Whatever it is, you need to have the action items, and then you got to calendar them or put them in a to-do list or put them somewhere where you're actually going to do that. Another example would be you want to get in a healthy um, physical routine. Great. That's wonderful. Set a goal. What is the goal? How many days a week do you want to do it? And I always tell anybody to like start slow, start with less days. Like maybe it's 2 days a week. And then once you can be consistent at two, you add a day. So again, like setting the goal of like what that looks like. And then also like what does that mean to you? Does that mean going on a cleanse? Does that mean going to a yoga class or going to Orange Theory or whatever? Find that exercise or that body movement that's gonna make you enjoy the process. And then like one of the action items is to be like sign up for a class, sign up for a cleanse, sign up for a run. If you've been wanting to run and you want to run a 5K, go look for one and sign up for it, because then now you have a date to work toward. So I really think it's super important that once you set the goals, you've got to figure out the strategy behind it, and then having action steps around them, and then also calendaring them. So those are certain things that I do to kind of move the needle. For me, my health journey will consist of doing a juice cleanse for 5 days just to kind of like restart it. And then just finding activities or things to drink that aren't wine or beer or, cocktails, and just kind of really leaning into that. And if you're somebody who wants to eat healthier, nah, that could be its own podcast for me. But one is meal planning. That is the easiest way to eat healthier, is meal planning and having a plan each week to stand by, and then grocery shop based on that instead of just grocery shopping based on how you feel or what you are craving, because that's when you can kind of derail. And then also any of these goals that you might find challenging um, that are going to be hard for you, get in a room with people who are wanting to do the same thing, and or find an accountability partner, because I think if you can find somebody who's kind of striving through for that same goal, now you have someone to like work on. If you're wanting to change your career, do a one, and you have a friend who wants to too, do your resumes together, take a class together. I think it's really important to find somebody who has similar goals or similar drives to like get in a room with them, become friends with them, spend time with them. Um, so yeah, these are some of my ways that I get excited for the next year. I'm so excited. I've decluttered. I have my goals set, and I've done my reflection. So I'm ready for a new year. I'm taking the next 2 weeks off to just spend time with family and to kind of regroup, and then gonna hit the pound or the what is it? Hit the pavement running in 2025. If you want any one-on-one sessions, I do offer one-on-one sessions. If you want to just do a little deep dive, I've had friends come into my office and I have a really cute whiteboard, and we've just like mind dumped everything that they want to achieve, and then coming up with a strategy behind it. If these are any of the things that you're interested in, I'm happy to help. There are things that I love doing, and I always love to pull happiness out of people, pull goals out and challenge them, and help them see a different point of view that you kind of get stuck in yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want to take this time to thank everybody for listening to my podcasts every week, sharing them, supporting me. I truly, truly am blessed. I'm so thankful for all of my guests. I love every single one of my guests. I've made amazing connections with them, and I know that they're changing people's lives within their story. And I'm so grateful for this platform and the support from all of you. So thank you. So much more to come in 2025. This isn't goodbye. This is see you in a week or two. And I hope everyone has a great holiday, a great New Year's, and let's go crush 2025.